All right, how we doing, guys? Today we're going to talk about back pain. So in any back pain scenario, there's really some things that absolutely must happen. And if this isn't happening with your current protocol, then you really need to either question your practitioner or start looking elsewhere. And I'm dead serious about that. There's a lot of practitioners and rehabilitation specialists are not currently doing this. There's a number of reasons for that. Some are. There's a lot of really good ones that are employing this practice, but there are too many that are not. So if your current back pain protocol doesn't involve, number one, identifying a relief physician. So a physician that you can get in anytime that you experience back pain, a physician that you can find immediate relief from. So you're going to have to know whether you have an extension intolerance or a flexion intolerance. If you have intolerance to compression, torsion, or shear, you should know this, guys. If you have back pain, you should be very comfortable and very intimate with all these terms. And if you're not, look me up. We'll make it happen. Okay. So first thing you need to know is how to get out of pain. Okay. Two, you need to know what you're doing that's causing it. So is it something you're doing? How you brush your teeth? How you put your shoes on? How you go in bed? Okay. What are you doing that's causing this creep? Okay. And then the third thing is you need a plan to correct it. So you need a corrective exercise plan. Okay. You need stretching. You need strengthening. You need to correct the ergonomic strain that you're putting on it. So if you think about if we've got poor posture or if we've got poor movement habits, think of it as like braces. So what do braces do, right? It puts a small amount of pressure, but continued relentless pressure on your teeth to move them to be a certain shape. And that's what's happening when we posture poorly, we brush our teeth incorrectly, we put our shoes on incorrectly, we sleep incorrectly, we get in and out of a chair incorrectly, when we drive incorrectly, we're really putting ourselves in bad position. So you see here, this is what a good neutral spine is going to look like here. And then as we lose abdominal and core function, our ability to keep our visceral in check where it's supposed to be wanes, and we start getting this poor posture, zero abdominal recruitment here. So this is going to manifest a multitude of symptoms. So we're going to have problems in all areas of our spine, the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral. We're going to experience probably low energy because we're not pumping our viscera. Our kidneys aren't getting the pumping they need. Our oxygen level isn't where it needs to be. And this right here, this gravity mechanism, you've got gravity pulling down, you've got the inability to stabilize and posture properly. So all this is just pulling down on that. So this is creating all sorts of creep. So if you were thinking about this as braces on your spine, okay, we've got a really heavy-duty set of braces here right on our spine that's pulling our spine out of the position. So that is a likely source of your back pain. What are some of the things that you could be experiencing specifically? So if you're dealing with sciatica, cervical pain that's turning into shoulder pain, and that's creeping down your back. So generally we have one spot where the symptoms manifest, and that becomes a problem spot, and then it transfers up. Typically it begins like in the neck, shoulder area, and then before we know it, we have lumbar issues, and then as the pathologies continue to get worse, then we're going to experience symptoms like numbness, tingling, and pain. So here are some of the most common sources of back pain that I've uncovered in my experience working with clients and working with myself. So first one, the most obvious, the one that most people are dealing with, mainly because this is one that causes clear pain, and it causes sporadic pain in a lot of people, unless it's at a point where it's really bad, where it's constant. We're going to see pain, numbness, tingling, itching, burning, those types of symptoms come and go. So what this is a disc bulge. So if you can see right here, this is the spinal nerve column. All right, right here we've got vertebrae, disc. Okay, and what you see creeping out here, right, is the fluid inside the disc. So your discs are kind of like a jelly donut. All right, so load gets transferred through here. Discs are not the shock absorber, okay, but they keep your vertebrae from actually connecting with one another. So what we've got going on here is this is most likely some sort of shear intolerance. So shear is when you've got the vertebrae working against each other like this. Okay, it's not torsion. Torsion is where they're twisting. Okay, usually shear is some sort of angular, right? Some sort of slippage. Okay, so that's what we got going on here, and this is just from instability right in this area, guys. We talked about the inner and outer core, inner and outer back extensors. That's what we're going on here. So we've got instability in here, poor alignment, probably postural creep going on, and then we've got some sort of compression or shear load happening here. okay, or we've got a combination of the two, and that's causing a lack of disc height over here. I'm sorry, the lack of disc height is happening because we're squeezing fluid out of the disc, goes right into here. Okay, so that's what most people are. This is your common sciatica case right here. So sciatica comes and goes. Well, what happens is we posture poorly, or we do something active that we don't normally do, or maybe we do normally do it, and then it creates a symptom, and maybe we take it easy for a while, it goes away, it doesn't bother us, it comes back in. So if we've got a combination of highly active lifestyle with poor posture, and we're adding ballistic load to this shear and or torsion intolerance, or shear and or compression intolerance, okay, that's when we've got chronic issues happening. In other words, that's when the fluid pumps out, but we don't get enough rest to pull back into the disc, and we correct the postural dysfunction that's causing the pathology. So that's a very common one right there. You've got the disc bulge, okay? And then over here, this one's pretty bad. This is a spondylolisthesis. So what we've got going on here is one of the vertebrae actually slipped on the other one. And as you can see here, there's like no disc left, okay? So this isn't a very good MRI, but I'm guessing this disc is popping out here somewhere, okay? And most likely he's got annulus damage to the disc. So the annulus layer is the outer layer of the disc that keeps everything in the disc, okay, the annulus fibrosus. And so my guess is this guy's got a probably shredded annulus, and he's got bone on bone going on here. So this is a lot of pain. So you got to ask yourself, was this guy experiencing these symptoms and he ignored them? Okay, or was this a traumatic event? Don't really know. But anyway, this guy's life is pretty, I guarantee you, whoever this is, their life is centered around this. Everything they do is dictated by this. This is the boss. So it's really important to catch it when it's in this state and correct it. Okay. Here's another one here. This is an end plate fracture. So this is an obvious compression injury here. So what happens here is gets so much compression onto this area of the spine, okay, that we start pushing disc fluid out into the spine, or into the vertebrae, and it creates so much pressure. This is on the outer edge of the vertebrae. So apparently he had a bulge coming out here. So he had looks like an anterior bulge, or I'm sorry, no, this would be lateral. Just the lateral, slightly posterior bulge going on right here. So just that pressure, what's supposed to happen is as we compress the spine, okay, we've got the middle of the vertebrae here, which is actually your load-bearing part of the spinal column, and it transfers shock and force. And what happens is this fluid, as it gets too much pressure, remember it's like a jelly donut, and that pushes up into the vertebrae, okay, so that we can allow compression and shorten the disc height so it doesn't pop the annulus on the disc. Well, when you got improper alignment, that instead of going straight up, that bulge is going to pop out here. My guess is on the other side here, he's probably got some sort of a side bend. So on the other side, he's got a shorter disc than he does over here. And it's creating all this pressure going on right here, so much to the point where it breaks this end, where it cracks this end plate. And so probably got a lot of fluid leaking into the disc, not going back in because you got a hole here, all right? So it's creating, my guess is, a lot of pain for this person, okay? So you probably got compression going on here. My guess is he's probably got vertebrae touching over here, probably spinous processes touching, which is going to make it tender. So he's probably experiencing all sorts of radiating pain and localized pain that's both chronic, constant, and intermittent. So there's probably a lot going on here. Again, this person, when the symptoms were here, started listening and taking action, could have avoided this and an eventual spondy. Okay. Another one is hook nerve root. Okay, so we've heard about nerve issues before, I'm sure. So this is where it gets really tricky because a lot of these symptoms can be real similar. So this one's going to provide probably, hopefully not chronic pain, but if that's sitting right on the processes or any part of the vertebrae here, it's going to, if it's actually sitting there, any movement you make is going to cause pain. If it's just hanging near there, it can cause intermittent pain but sharp pain. So you can understand how these symptoms might be really similar to what's going on with this guy here, right? He's got some chronic and intermittent, I'm sure. Okay, so right here, this could be the symptoms coming from this could be also from a neural tension issue. Okay, so basically our spinal nerves create a certain amount of tension based on the posture we put it in all the time. When we change that tension, okay, it can cause the nerve to do funny things. So symptoms from that could very well mimic a hooked nerve. But if you look here, you've got just kind of a nerve that's hooked here, and this isn't causing any problems. You got poor alignment, and then when our movement causes this this hooked nerve to catch on something. And so that's when you get the intermittent stinging pain. And then also another symptom that can really mimic this hooked nerve root is stenosis. So what is stenosis? Stenosis is a narrowing of the nerve canal here. So you can see this. So you can see how that's going to create quite a similar response or feeling or symptoms as this hooked nerve. So if we look at this stenosis here, that's another thing. It could be sitting just fine, but as soon as we change the neural tension, okay, it changes the demand on where that's sitting, and it can really cause some shooting pain. Okay, stenosis, unfortunately, is one of those things that's, for some people, it's just something you got to live with. You get a narrowing of this canal here, all right, due to calcification, basically to protect the spine due to our postural misalignment. All right, that's something you really can't do a lot about. But we also get inflamed spinal roots where the actual spinal roots grow, okay, due to inflammation for whatever reason. Okay, that case we can actually use some rest and corrective exercises, postural realignment, and listening to our body and allow that to get to its proper size so that it can fit through the nerve canal properly again. So again, just to recap, guys, your back pain is most likely coming from one of a couple different areas. Okay, either it's structural or it's behavioral, and or a combination of the two. So right here, this person was once built like this, okay, and then it progressed to this, and then it progressed to that. So this person's next step is most likely going to be some sort of organ damage, extreme back pain, and immobility. And this person, if they don't get on a corrective exercise plan right away, and every day totally immersed in the process program, then basically their only strategy for the rest of their life is to just slow the descent of their spinal pathology. And that's really where it is, guys. So if you're somewhere in the spectrum between here and here, it's highly recommended that you take action, because every year it's just going to get worse. Every day it gets worse, honestly. Think about it. You're putting braces on your spine, and unlike braces on your teeth, these never come off until you put the work in. All right, I hope you found that valuable. If you've got some back pain that you're tired of dealing with, I think this could really help you out. If you're in a situation where you need further clarity, further explanation, let's hop on a call. Let's get it figured out. All right? Jerry Kuykendall, Biohacking Truth. All right, you're being hacked every single day, you guys, by the environment that you live in, whether it be to make a buck or to enjoy your time, go out to eat with friends and family. No matter what you do, everything you do, people are doing things to make $1 off of you and to basically hack you. All right, now I'm not saying this on purpose, but life is putting us in a position where we've got to be proactive, play offense in our life to mitigate these effects so that we can be fulfilled. We can still thrive in this modern world, guys, but we just got to be proactive. We can't just keep back and just be mindless about our choices, how we sit, how we move, and how we eat. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Biohackingtruth.com. Visit us anytime. You can directly contact me. You can reach me at jerry@biohackingtruth.com. If this is a problem for you, you're tired of it, you've been through chiropractors, PTs, doctors, and they've signed you off as healed, and you just don't buy it, you know that you can feel better, I'm telling you, you're right. You can feel better. All right, let's get this taken care of. Peace, guys. Much love, live well.